Call to order this meeting of the Finance, Budget, and Personnel Committee for Tuesday, August 16th, here in the council chambers of City Hall. Item number 2, identify potential conflicts of interest. You have the agenda before you. Does anybody wish to declare any potential concerns with conflicts of interest? Seeing none, we'll move on to number 3, citizens' comments. Do we have any citizens wishing to comment? Mr. Barg.
Thank you. I talked to Dan earlier in the day. Really, the agenda for the Board of Public Works last night and the Finance, Budget, and Personnel Committee tonight would normally have addressed the fact that we have a situation like we do about 3 or 4 times a year at the beginning of September when we have Labor Day in this case. So Board of Public Works can't meet on Monday, and we both kind of fight for space, if you will, on Tuesday. So what we'd like to do is have both those meetings on Tuesday night with Board of Public Works at 5:30 first. And I know you're going to give me that look. I'll explain in a minute. But in Finance to follow that, I did talk to Dan. I told him that the Finance, Budget, and Personnel Committee agenda already looks long for that day. And so it probably makes more sense for us to go after Board of Public Works. I don't know how long his agenda is, but it's 3 weeks out. So I know we've talked about trying to alternate this. I get it. But that's my announcement, if you will.
Okay.
That's all I've got, Tom.
Any other citizens' comments? Third time citizens' comments? Did you have something else, Steve?
I'm up for the next item.
Oh, okay.
Safe steps.
Number 4, consent agenda, the minutes of the August 2nd, 2022 meeting, bills and payroll, and report of personnel actions. What is your pleasure? Mr. Hendler.
Move to approve.
A motion to approve by Mr. Hendler. Second by Mrs. Spiros. Any questions, comments? Seeing none, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? That motion carries. Nothing was removed, so we're on to number 6, request to recommend Finance, Budget, and Personnel Committee approve of a team to review the responses to the RFQ for employment law services and to make a recommendation to the Common Council. Mr.
Thank
Barg.
you. Yes, last month at the request of Adam Fisher, one of our council members, we went forward with an RFQ. You might think, what's the difference again between RFQ and RFP? RFP is looking for specific proposals. RFQ is looking to find out what services are provided by a firm that might be beneficial to us, and then we would try to negotiate with them if we could on a price. So council was fine with an RFQ. I sent out the RFQ to a lot of law firms in Wisconsin that do employment law. That's one of their specialties. And Friday, the 19th, this Friday is the deadline. So what we want to do is get a team together of people to review the submissions that we get. I'm recommending that it be 3 staff members and 2 council members, with the 3 staff members being myself, Sarah Dressel, our HR director, and Jody Gerink, our police chief. In part, that's because, and not just because of recent events, but that department tends to have quite a few issues that end up going through that loop. And then, again, the mayor and/or council, 2 people from the elected body would be on that team. I think it might be appropriate if this body, my recommendation would be that you recommend council approval of setting up this team and maybe leave the vote on what council members are picked to the 23rd.
Okay, so then your recommendation is simply the creation of...
Create the review team and maybe, like I said, I think the full council maybe could decide next Tuesday who they wish to have the 2 members be, similar to what was done with the audit committee.
Mr. Wagner.
I've seen us put together these teams before, and I think that may be unnecessary. I mean, you have a team to review personnel actions here, and it's called the Finance, Budget, and Personnel Committee. So why can't the committee as a whole do this? And they have staff to serve as staff to us and give us advice and consent as we may need. I don't see the need of creating another committee.
That's certainly your purview, and I understand it. I mean, and we don't know how many we get. In some cases, when we do RFPs or RFQs, we get 2 or 3, and it would be an easy review for this body. Sometimes we get more, and maybe the body's okay with that. I presume that would be done in open session, which isn't necessarily wrong either. You talk about what firm has the best qualifications. It's entirely up to you. I just made my recommendation that we do what we've done in the past, which is set up a team to review and make recommendations to this body.
If I
Go ahead.
I think one of the other objections I had, and I think I mentioned this to you back when we were doing all those team meetings to get the personnel director, finance, and ad nauseum. And basically the teams were heavily packed with staff. And the elected officials were always in the minority on those things. And that was especially difficult in the times that we were looking for a person, and we still are looking for a person for a development a director, and two of the members of the team were people that would report to that person themselves. So they essentially were being given a chance to pick their own boss, which I object to. I think should come under the purview of the council members to set policy and to look for the best person for the job. So I'm going to, Mr. Chairman, would it be appropriate to make a motion?
Go ahead.
I'd like to make a motion that the Finance, Budget, and Personnel Committee be designated to review the proposals for the labor employment services.
Okay, we have a motion and a second by Mr. Hendler. Any questions, comments? All right, seeing none, all those in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? That motion carries unanimously.
Thank you.
Suggested items for future agenda. I guess I personally have one idea. I'd like to kind of know where we're at with any holes of employment that we're still trying to fill. So if we can get that information, that'd be great. Anybody else? All right, seeing none and seeing all the business before us is complete, I do declare this meeting adjourned.